Hello and welcome to Diplomata. I'm Francis Suni. The relationship between Timor-Leste and Australia dates back to 1942 during the Second World War, in which the Timorese provided essential support to the Australian Z-Force commandos. History records that as the consequence of extending that help, a large number of Timorese had to pay with their own lives. The relationship between the two countries, on the other hand, has continued ever since. Despite the ups and downs in the relationship, for various reasons, Timor-Leste and Australia have not only become friends, but almost like a family. Now, I'll meet the diplomat who has been tirelessly working very hard to make sure that the relationship is stronger than ever. He is Mr. Peter Roberts, the Australian ambassador to Timor-Leste since February 2018.
Peter Roberts is a senior career officer of the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and was most recently Assistant Secretary, Goods Free Trade Agreement Division. He has served overseas as Political Counselor at the Australian Embassy, Japan, Second Secretary at the Australian High Commission, Samoa, and as a Senior Civilian Monitor with the Peace Monitoring Group in Bougainville. In Canberra, Peter Roberts has worked as a lead negotiator in the concluding stage of the Japan-Australian Economic Partnership Agreement, China-Australia Free Trade Agreement, and the Korea-Australia Free Trade Agreement. He has also worked as Director, Japan Section, and on international climate change responses in both DFAT and the then Department of Climate Change. Peter Roberts was awarded the Order of Australia Medal for his role in the search and rescue effort following the 2011 Japan earthquake and tsunami. Peter Roberts holds a Bachelor of Asian Studies, Honorary, and a Bachelor of Science from the Australian National University. He speaks Japanese, Tetun, and Tok Pisin. He is married with 2 children.
Francis,
Hello,
welcome.
sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
How are you?
Very good. Excited to be part of this program.
Well, thank you very much for making yourself available. This is the first episode of Diplomata, so it's exciting to have you.
It's an honor for me. Please come inside.
Thank you. It is a special request by Ambassador Roberts that we do this interview in Timor-Leste's national language. Therefore, I'll be spending the next few minutes talking to Ambassador Roberts in Tetun. Ambassador, dahil idatan obrigado tamba kolono parte ya programa idane.
Obrigado pela oportunidade idane.
Atu hahu Ambassador ni Hanoi kona ba Timor-Leste.
Sim. Nu da ambassador, hau no ingata que Timor-Leste importado teves, ba Australia, vizinho, no parceira, então Australia hakara ka hamete incorporação no Timor-Leste. No, nu da Peter, ia tuia haunia Hanoi pessoal, hau gosta do Timor-Leste. Hau gosta hele Timor-Leste no koele o malu ho ema baraki e Timor-Leste. No hele ho haunia familia e Timor-Leste.
Desde Ambassador halo serviço e Timor-Leste, fating neve mas Ambassador consegue visitar ona e Timor.
Sim, hau visita ona Turo, Suai, Bobanaro, Likisa, hau sedau ba Los Palos no Viqueque, então hau entende ba Los Palos no Viqueque.
E fating rumah neve Ambassador gosta liu e Timor-Leste?
Fin de semana luba hau ba Turo to fatin capaz. No tassimos capaz, no hau hakarak ba fila, ho família, tu halo viagem toan, no descansi toan.
Kona ba serviço? Ambassador ni serviço saída dete ia Timor-Leste.
Sim. Nu da ambassador, hau precisa represente Australia e Timor-Leste. Mas be hau karak saliente ponto ida. Hau nia serviço Laos det explica kona ba politica Australia ba ima hoto e Timor-Leste. Laos det explica kona ba situação e Australia ba governo Timor-Leste. Mas how most precisa explica para o governo australiano como a situação em Timor-Leste, como a desafio de desenvolvimento, como a situação política, como a oportunidade atualmente em cooperação. No canai é importante tebes atu a linha australiana cooperação, australiana prioridade, o governo Timor-Leste é prioridade, no hetan osan husi Australia tu suporta programa programa Timor-Leste.
Em geral, papel diplomata ida nessa ida?
Sim. How Hanoi Katak, caso australiano Timor-Leste, no da ambassador australiano, how cana importante, ato hamete em cooperação. Passado, a questão é difícil entre Timor-Leste e Austrália. Na how fia Katak, oportunidade barak, oportunidade de bod, oportunidade diak, ato serviço hamatuk. Australiano Timor-Leste, no da nação basic, vizinho, no depende bamalu. Então, a cara hamete em cooperação e a área oin, particularmente a área de segurança. Australia nie segurança, hanesa Timor-Leste nie segurança. Timor-Leste nie segurança, mas Australia nie segurança. Nos vizinho, nos parceira, precisa serviço hamatuk. Então, no da diplomata, haunia cana, atu suporta cooperação entre Timor-Leste e Austrália.
Hanesang embaixador temi ona iha passado iha tempo difícil ida entre Timor-Leste e Austrália, tamba problema fronteira marítima. Timor-Leste e Austrália consegue ona aceita ba fronteira marítima permanente ida. No dar representante governo Austrália e Timor-Leste, mensagem saída mak Austrália hakara kato ba Timor-Leste liu kona ba tempo depois de problema fronteira marítima Timor-Leste Austrália ne resolve tia.
Sim. How contente tebes Australia no Timor-Leste assim ona acordo ina ne acordo fronteira marítima. Tamba razão dua. Da huluk. How fia katak Timor-Leste no Australia. Por exemplo, ba mundo tomak katak nação lue bele resolve questões difíceis, lu husi comunicação. How fia katak ponto ida é importante tebes. No da ruak agora maka oportunidade de akba Timor-Leste na Austrália. Tamba assim ona acordo fronteira marítima, bele foca ba futuro, bele foca ba cooperação e a área oin. No how sente obrigação todan, atu usa oportunidade ida ne, atu suporta hamete em cooperação entre Timor-Leste e Austrália. Agora, rona ona con husi hau, então how sente katak, diaklu rona husi haunia embaixada nia funcionário será.
This is the Australian Embassy in Timor-Leste, where I'll be spending some time talking to Ambassador Roberts and the staff of the embassy about the work they are doing. First of all, can you tell me your name and your position, please?
Sure. My name's Claire Chevelle and I'm a First Secretary at the Australian Embassy in Dili.
And how long have you been working as the First Secretary?
So almost 2 years in Dili, but I've worked for the Australian Government for almost 12 years.
And in your position, what do you do, or what do you do every day?
Sure. So I'm part of the Human Development team at the Australian Embassy, and our team of 13 looks after just over half of the Australian bilateral aid program to Timor-Leste. We work really closely with the government of Timor-Leste and communities in Timor-Leste to deliver better outcomes for people. So it's really a privilege, the work that we get to do. So in a practical sense, it's things like working to improve better education for children, better health services for mothers and children, to involve communities in their own development. We support the government's Community Village Development Program, PNDS. We work to improve nutrition for under 5 children, and in everything that we do, we promote gender equality and inclusion because we think that that's extremely important to development everywhere.
And in the office, who do you work with?
So I work with my team, but I do also work with the Australian Ambassador to Timor-Leste, Mr. Peter Roberts. The Ambassador's a really excellent advocate for the Australian aid program in Timor. He understands the importance of our development program in our relationship with the government of Timor. He works with us when we need to raise priorities and areas of interest with senior levels of government. He helps us promote the work that we're doing through things like talking to the media, going out and talking to communities. He also works with us. A large part of my role is also conveying messages back to my headquarters in Canberra to make sure that our senior leadership is aware of the interests and the priorities of the Timorese. In that way, we can work better in partnership, we can have a better development program, and he works very closely with us in getting those messages back to our headquarters as well.
How about working with your Timorese counterparts?
We couldn't do the work that we do without our Timorese counterparts. So every week I'm in talking to my counterparts within the government of Timor-Leste with implementing partners. So we work with international and national NGOs in delivering services. We need to plan together, we need to monitor together, and we need to work together. And the results that we achieve, we couldn't achieve unless we work together. And this year we've achieved some really exciting results. 140,000 people in Timor-Leste have access to better services. 32,000 people got access to sexual and reproductive health care from us working together. We're working with the Ministry of Education to support teachers to teach to improve their teaching practice in the classroom, and that means better learning outcomes for kids. So really exciting stuff, and we couldn't do it unless we worked in close partnership with our Timor-Leste colleagues.
Thank you very much, sir, for taking part in this program. First of all, could you please tell me your name and your position, please?
My name is Colonel Michael Rizzoli, and I'm the Defence Attaché in the Australian Embassy.
On an average day, what do you do, sir, in your work?
It's a great question. My role here is to represent the Australian Department of Defence and the Australian Defence Force in Timor-Leste. That helps the Ambassador, the other diplomats, and all of the attached agencies at the Australian Embassy provide communications between Timor-Leste and the Australian government departments we represent.
And how long have you been doing this work, sir?
I've been lucky enough to be able to live and work in Timor-Leste for 3 years now, and it's such a great honour to be able to live and work in somebody else's country while representing your own.
So that means you have been working with Ambassador Roberts since his very first day in Timor?
Since his very first day.
What can you say about working with Ambassador Roberts?
Thoroughly enjoy working with Ambassador Roberts. I greatly admire his energy, his professionalism, the way that he's invested in learning Tetum, and it's a great privilege to be able to work with him on engagements where we can conduct all of the proceedings in Tetum.
And in your work, who is your direct Timorese counterpart?
It varies because the Australian Department of Defence and the Australian Defence Force are large organisations. Almost everybody from the Minister of Defence throughout the Timorese Ministry of Defence, so the Director General, directors and other functionaries in the department, as well as the Chef de Estado Mayor General, Major General Lire Anand Timor, and all of his officers and soldiers within the FFDTL.
And what is your experience in working with the Timorese counterparts?
It's been fantastic. What I've thoroughly enjoyed is the frequent and often interaction. One of the highlights for me over my 3 years was being able to accompany Major General Lire Anand Timor on a counterpart visit to meet the Australian Chief of Defence Force in Canberra.
How often or how close do you work with Ambassador Roberts in your daily?
We would interact 5 or 6 times a day, every day, and it's terrific. It's such a great opportunity to be close to the ambassador and to be able to learn from him as well as contribute within my own area of expertise.
And do you think his work have represented the interest of Australia in Timor-Leste?
I think Ambassador Roberts is a great representative of the Australian government, as well as being the senior Australian government officer in Timor. He represents all of our attached agencies very well, and I greatly appreciate his mentorship and guidance.
Thank you very much.
It's my job to understand the detail of what's happening in the political situation in Timor-Leste, and then to analyse what it means for the country and if there's any implications for the bilateral relationship between Timor-Leste and Australia.
Has there been any problems? Has there been any issues in the relationship, in the politics between the two countries, Timor-Leste and Australia?
I think it's fair to say that for some time the relationship was focused on concluding a permanent maritime boundary, but I feel really lucky to have started work here in February this year, to have seen the Maritime Boundary Treaty between our two countries signed, and then also the space that that's created to really deepen our partnership and work collaboratively and cooperatively together for the future.
The relationship is recovering. What else do you do to make that relationship even better and stronger?
When we had our former Foreign Minister Julie Bishop visit in July this year, Ms Bishop and Foreign Minister Babo Suarez signed a joint communique mapping out the next chapter in the bilateral relationship between Timor-Leste and Australia. Part of my job at the embassy is to work closely with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation to continue progress to implement that joint communique, to make sure we're staying on track, working together on our shared objectives.
And in that context, what is the role of Ambassador Roberts?
Well, he is our advocate. He is our spokesperson for the bilateral relationship, and he is a really powerful advocate. I started on the same day as Peter here at the embassy, and I've seen from day one how invested he is in making sure, mission-wide, we are communicating Timor-Leste's perspective to the Government of Australia in Canberra, and also effectively communicating perspectives from Canberra to key counterparts here in Timor-Leste.
How well do you think Ambassador Roberts has, as the representative of the Australian government in Timor-Leste, how well has he done to represent the interest of Australia in Timor-Leste?
Extremely well. He arrived with a positive energy and a real commitment to drive things forward. And he's done that by elevating the momentum in exchange and visits between our two countries. And again, in making sure we understand each other, that we understand our systems and our perspectives. Because if both the government of Timor-Leste and the government of Australia are on the same page, then it makes it much easier for us to deepen our relationship.
Can you share some of the greatest achievements you have been able to make since you've been working with Ambassador Roberts?
Sure. Well, in my short time, as an embassy, we were able to deliver the first foreign ministerial visit to Timor-Leste in 5 years, and a highly successful visit that brought Julie Bishop, the champion within the Government of Australia for the Maritime Boundary Treaty, here to Dili to meet her counterparts. We've also since held senior official talks between Australia and Timor-Leste. This was an outcome from the joint communique that foreign ministers signed during Ms Bishop's visit. We've had a parliamentary delegation from Australia visit, and also our Assistant Minister for International Development. So I'm proudest of our capacity to have elevated that political exchange and start building really close relationships between our leaders.
So anything else you can say about Ambassador Roberts?
I think he's a man of the people, and that's why he's really well liked in Timor-Leste. He's invested heavily in his Tetum language skills so that he can talk to people from all echelons of Timor-Leste society, from Prime Minister Taumatan Ruak down to the leaders of aldeias at the village level in Dili, in Bobanaro, in Suai. He wants to travel and really get to know the country, and I think that comes across and is really well received.
My name is Jeff Turner. I'm the commander of the Timor-Leste Police Development Program, and we're a development program here helping the PNTL. We've been here since 2004.
Okay, and with the program, what do you do on a daily basis?
Look, on a daily basis, we provide technical assistance and support to the PNTL in a number of areas. Within the Police Training Centre, we look at executive development and management. We have a gender focus to support the Vulnerable Persons Unit. We also work in the transnational organised crime space. We also have a program running with the intelligence SIP within the PNTL. And we also look at managing and maintaining the information management system, which is the database that the PNTL use to track and record their work.
So how is that progressing, the success of...
Look, I think it's a successful program. I'm a little bit biased. I've been in Timor before, so I was here with the UN in 2000 and again with the UN in 2009, but this is my first time with the TLPDP. I think if people come here first time, they might not think a lot of progress has been made, but I've seen a lot of progress over the last 20 years. So I think it's a successful program, and I think it's a successful program because it is actually a true partnership between ourselves and the PNTL.
And in practical terms, how many people do you work with in the program?
Look, we have 10 advisors here with the TLPDP, but we work across a broad spectrum with the PNTL itself. So my relationship is predominantly with the Commander General and the Second Commander General, and then we deal mainly with the district commanders or the commanders of the units here, and then we filter that training out through the Police Training Centre or CFP.
Other than getting approval in anything you do, approval from the commander, what else is unique about this program, TLPDP?
Look, I'd like to think that it's actually a true partnership, and by that I mean it's not something we are forcing on the PNTL or the Government of Timor-Leste. It's a partnership where it's based on mutual respect, which is one of the reasons I like working here so much. I think our program's successful because we genuinely negotiate around what the challenges are and how best to fix them, rather than us telling the PNTL how to do something or the PNTL even telling us how to do something. I think that's the success of the program, is it's based on mutual trust and respect.
Back to Ambassador Roberts. What can you say about working with Ambassador Roberts?
Look, he's obviously settled into his role very well. He speaks very good Tetum. That's something I'm a bit jealous of because my Tetum is not particularly good, although I'm trying to get there. I think he brings a unique perspective in that it's a broad range of things that the ambassador has to deal with in relation to our bilateral relationship with Timor-Leste. And we've got, historically, there are highs and lows between our two countries, but I think he is definitely working on the highs on where we take the relationship forward from here after the Maritime Boundary Treaty and the reset. There's obviously challenges around the Greater Sunrise joint venture, but I think he brings a well-balanced and pragmatic approach to how we can move forward. And in the policing space, I like to think I can support him when he needs it.
Every day, because the Workforce Development Program There are 3 components under the workforce development program. So basically with the scholarships, we provide like up to 20 Timorese to study tertiary education in Australia. And then also including the supporting to the alumni, those that, graduated from Australia and then come back to Timor-Leste. And then the second component is like, skills development and employment program. So basically we work with CFOP to develop the vocational qualifications, certificates, train their vocational trainers, and then providing the training that in relation to the curriculum that we developed to existing 25 employees that currently working in the hospitality industry here in Timor-Leste. But then also with the workforce development program, we do have one program we call Australian Timor-Leste English Language Program. But this program, basically we are focusing to upgrading the secondary teacher English language in the district, especially in Ailewen and Mera, to upgrade their level of English up to Certificate 3. And then also we provide English language training to TVET trainers in order to help them to understand the technical language that written in English language.
Okay, and what do you think of Ambassador Roberts?
Well, he's a great man, because he always invests his time with the investment that currently I'm managing, the Workforce Development Program. So this one, we can one of the example is he always be available for any meetings that we set up with the government, especially with the Secretariat of State for Vocational Training and Employment, with the recent public announcement to the public about the involvement of Timor-Leste into the new Pacific Labor Scheme. So that's as an example.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. And what do you do in the embassy?
I'm working for the defense section here as a defense office manager.
And that means you're doing what kind of work do you do?
Yes, my role is here is to support the defense office and defense teams here, and then also Australian Defense Corporation here at the embassy.
Okay, so that means you have been working with Ambassador Roberts since his arrival in Timor.
Yes.
So, what can you say about Ambassador Roberts?
He's a great guy. I've just met him in a couple of months after he's taking over from Ambassador Peter as well, the other Peter. And he's with the new CAO who has left, I think a month ago. They also have a new initiative and also innovation to the our new staff here, the LES, local staff, as well as the AAB staff. And we propose some other outdoor activities, not only the office, but also other, especially for the football games and volleyball games.
Being a coordinator, what do you do on a daily basis?
We manage our support program to PNDS, and we also manage gender equality program at the embassy, and also our implementing partners on gender equality, ending violence against women, and other programs.
Okay, and who your counterparts are in your program?
In embassy, we support other programs like G4D, market development, PNDS, to ensure that they have engaged people with disability and gender in all the programs. In terms of government, we work with Ministry of Social Solidarity and Inclusion. We work with Secretary of State for Equality and Inclusion. We also work with Ministry of State and Admin on PNDS program.
What would you say about working with Ambassador Roberts?
He's a very smart person, very relaxed. I think he has a very great sense of humor, and he's very smart, and he knows a lot of information about the programs that we support, like gender equality, health, education. He knows a lot of those areas, and he usually go out and talk to community, government, civil society on those areas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Well, I manage gender equality and also ending violence against women programs in the Australian Embassy. And we work a lot with some of our implementing partners and to end violence against women in Timor-Leste.
Why gender is a mainstream program in the embassy?
For the Australian, gender is at the heart of the Australia's development assistance in Timor-Leste. As you can see that there is significant barriers for Timorese women to lead equal, safe, healthy lives, access to services, and also have chance to make a decision in their life. So we work to promote women's participation in the leadership and also making decision, women economic empowerment, access to quality services, and also ending violence against women and children.
Can you tell me about your work? What do you do in the embassy?
So here at the embassy, I am involved in the development program, and our development program focuses on priorities that is enshrined in Timor-Leste's strategic development plan, especially in the private sector. And so we do this through partnerships and providing support to, for instance, the Office of the Prime Minister, Office of the Ministry for Legislative Reform and Parliamentary Affairs, Civil Service Commission, and as well as the Ministry for Transport and Telecommunications. We support them by producing policies and laws that hopes to enable business environment, as well as developing agriculture, tourism, and manufacturing. Yeah, I would say that I have my own privilege. It's a privilege to work with him, especially because he comes with the background of trade. He has a lot of passion on business and trade, and this is exactly the area where I am working on. So my experience of working with him has been really, really great. He is really on top of things, of the economics and trade things, so I really regard him highly, and he's very professional.
Thank you for staying with us on Diplomata. Living life as a diplomat with a tight schedule from time to time can be challenging. This is especially when it comes to family life. So how about Ambassador Roberts? How does he manage the family part of life? Here with me is Lisa Roberts, the wife of Ambassador Roberts. Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you very much for agreeing to do this interview. Just to start with, did you move with Ambassador Roberts on the first day of his posting in Timor?
Yes, so we arrived as a family in Dili in early January, and we came straight from Canberra to our posting here.
And how have you found Timor-Leste?
I love Timor-Leste. Being from Canberra, we're used to cooler temperatures, so Timor-Leste is quite warm. That was the first thing I sort of noticed when we arrived. The people of Timor-Leste have just been wonderful. Everyone's been so friendly and so helpful, and we're really enjoying getting to know the country.
Have you visited places in Timor?
Yes, we have been to Malbisi and went up into the hills and stayed at the beautiful posada up there. We've been to Malbara and Likisa with a few family members that have visited. We went to Atauro last weekend, which was beautiful. It's a lovely, lovely island out there, and that's all I've managed to see so far.
Being one of the closest family members of a diplomat, how hard and how easy has that been to you?
Some things are very difficult. I think when you're an ambassador, it's a job for a whole family. Peter's schedule is very, very busy. We do a lot of functions and entertaining here at the residence, so sometimes that could be 4 nights a week. And that can be quite hard on our children. We've got 2 young boys, they're 6 and 8, and I think when you have a lot of people around, often it's asking children to really behave and grow up quite quickly. But I think we knew that it would be a very busy job, and we decided to all come here as a family, and so we just worked together as a family.
And how well do you think Ambassador Roberts has done in terms of managing his time with the children, as you have mentioned, with the family?
I think he manages his time very well. We make time to go out for lunch when we can, when he doesn't have other scheduled arrangements on. We spend every weekend together. Every Sunday morning we usually go for a walk up Cristo Rey, and then we go to beachside and have breakfast. The kids hire kayaks. So I think even though the ambassador's very busy, he very much makes time for the family. And I think here in Timor-Leste, where it is a little bit quieter, we do get a great amount of time together as a family.
Okay, and how about the family back in Australia?
As in, what do we do in Australia?
Yeah, well, do you get to visit your family in Australia?
We've very luckily already had Peter's parents out for a visit, and my parents out for a visit, and my brother and his family. So we've had 3 lots of visitors so far. We're still waiting on some more family members to come next year. We were lucky enough to go home in June of this year and went back to Canberra for a few weeks, which was lovely. But yes, we hope to have family members visit again next year.
I heard that the children were born in Japan.
They were.
Do you take the children to Japan?
We are actually going to Japan next week on Boxing Day. We leave for a 2-week holiday, and we're hoping to go skiing while we're in Japan.
Okay, so what normally Ambassador Roberts share with you in terms of work, in terms of what he does in the office?
I think if there's anything really big or important, he doesn't discuss things like that with me. And then if there's any sort of specific staffing issues, we don't really talk too much about what's going on in the office. I think we're just really here to assist him to relax and depressurise when he gets home. He's got a lot of great staff at the embassy that can help with that side of work. But I think a family, it's really a place where you can sort of have time at home and be in a haven and be away from the working environment.
And just one last question. What is your favorite thing to do in Timor, and have you found any favorite food in Timor maybe?
Yes, there's lots of great things I love to do here. I volunteer with 2 organisations. I teach English at Cruz Vermelha de Timor-Leste, and I am working in a communication role with UNDP, both great organisations. So that's a really great thing for me to do with my days. I spend a lot of time with the kids. I help out at school and volunteer at the school. And then on the weekends, we love to spend time as a family, go to the beach, do Cristo Rey, spend time in the water. Food. We love going to Bebonuk and having fish on a stick down at the waterside.
And apart from Timor, where else have you been with Mr. Roberts in his position as a diplomat?
Sure. So our last posting was to Tokyo, Japan. We were there between 2008 and 2012, so it was almost 4 years. Our 2 boys were born there, and Peter was the political counsellor at the Australian Embassy in Tokyo in that time.
Thank you very much for sharing with us some stories, some information on the family life, or the life of as a family member of Mr. Roberts.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is Helder Cruz, the person who has been working as the driver for the Australian ambassadors to Timor-Leste. Mang Helder, dia kalah.
Diak mo.
Mang Helder, say motorista ba ambassador Australia ba Timor-Leste sira desde Satinan?
Aku começa serviço iha embaixada australiano, comecei iha 2001 até agora.
Ne ambassador na hira ona mak Mang Helder serviço mo to ko.
La sala nang hitu.
Ho Ambassador Roberts hahu kira susi lorong primeiro.
Sim, comecei iha fevereiro tinangkot, tinandane.
Tu irmão Helder Ambassador Roberts ne ambassador idahanes nebe.
Bahau senhor Robert niya may da kay flexibilyo, comic, gosta kuliah barak.
I'm sitting here in the Agora Food Studio, a Dili-based enterprise supported by the Australian Embassy. And here with me is Mark Mataras, co-founder and co-director of Agora Food Studio, to share with us the history of Agora Food Studio. Can you tell me the history, how this whole Agora Food Studio project came about?
Thanks, Francis. Well, actually, the history of the project or the enterprise starts well before we opened in 2016. My wife and I and some Timorese chefs, we realized that there are not many places in Timor that you can get local Timorese food based on local ingredients. And we came together to form the Slow Food movement in Dili in 2014. So the first chapter for the Slow Food International movement in Timor-Leste. Based on that, we realized through doing different events that there people, both international guests and local people, want to access more local foods, both traditional and innovative foods and coffee as well. And based on that, we decided to open Agora in 2016. So we currently mentor and train 16 Timorese youths from all the municipalities in Timor in the areas of food, coffee and tourism.
And how did the Australian support came in, the Australian Embassy support?
So the way that Agora Food Studio works is we're a self-funded social enterprise where the restaurant and the cafe that you see here, it's the financial foundation for us to survive in this business environment. Where the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade supports us is through the Timor-Leste Food Innovators Exchange project. So TLFix is funded through DFAT's Innovation Exchange.
TLFix is pilot project supported by Innovators Exchange under the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, DFAT, the Australian government, where we do a pilot project in Tauru, in a suku called Biloy. And then part of the first activity, we do food survey. So to find out types of food that growing in Tauru. So we have a second activity we call storytelling, where older generation from Tauru village will do a storytelling around the food to a young generation. We will talk about how the food was grown, how it prepares, how it links to the culture, to the activities of our ancestors in the past. The third activity we are doing is on the Innovators Exchange. So what we do is we identify innovators from Tauru, the food innovators from Tauru, which is now we are working with the Homestay Association, who are receiving visitors, tourists from outside, from foreign countries, and trying to serve them with local food. And then the last part of the activity is we do a market testing. Through the market testing, and we thank the embassy on that, because we are able to get space in a Consantil event where through the link through embassy, they help us to have a channel link to the government, and later on we do a market testing during the Consantil retreat. And then we have people from different institutions of the government, development partners. So they taste the food in front of the local people from Tauru.
Away from diplomacy and politics, Ambassador Roberts also have other skills he would like to share with us by showing how to make it. So, welcome to Ambassador Roberts.
I like to cook, but I usually only get to cook on the weekends because I'm busy. But today I'm going to cook something that's based on a Japanese dish called Budaniku no Shogayaki, pork and ginger. But I've adjusted a little bit to be based on ingredients we have here in Timor-Leste. So first I'm going to wash my hands, of course. And then this is a really, really easy thing to make. So it's first Ilea, ginger. So we're going to use quite a lot of ginger and shred it up.
Can cook great food as well. So delicious. We have heard about Ambassador Roberts' work and the services the Australian Embassy is providing in Timor-Leste. We have also seen the ambassador's cooking skills. But what does he do for fun? What is it that keeps him healthy? We'll now find out from the ambassador himself. Ambassador, that was a really good kick.
Thank you.
How often do you do soccer?
We have an embassy team and we try to train once a week. Sometimes I don't make it because I'm busy at work. And then we try to play as many games as we can. So I think we've played about 9 or 10 games.
Any other sports you play?
Yeah, I like to do boxing. I do boxing a few mornings a week. I find with my job I'm always eating, sometimes I'm drinking, and I'm sitting at the desk a lot, so I have to do some exercise to stay healthy, to keep my mind working.
Okay, so in soccer, which team have you played against?
In Timor-Leste, we've played against GMN, and played against Timor Gap, Ministerio de Negocios Extranjeros, the American Embassy, the Partnership for Human Development, and a few other teams.
And I imagine you have a lot of victories.
Well, we've had a few wins and we've had a draw. I think with GMN we had a draw. Timor Gap we've drawn twice and we haven't lost yet.
Okay, other than boxing and soccer, any more sports you do?
Not really anymore. When I was a child I played cricket, which you don't play in Timor-Leste, but it's a great game. And we try to go for walks with the family. So every week we walk up Cristo Rey.
Australia is well known for footy. Yeah. Do you play footy?
No.
And how
well,
do you find
when I was younger I was
Timorese
too little.
trainer?
Now I might be big enough, but it's a bit late to start now.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
My brief conversation with Ambassador Roberts on his sporting activities concludes this first episode of Diplomata. Thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the program. I'm Francis Suni. Bye for now.